Welcome to Belief, Being, and Beyond with your host, Granddaughter Crow.
Granddaughter Crow, I have a treasure for you today. Divine Dirt by Charity Bedell. I have Charity. Say hi to everyone, Charity.
Hello.
I'm so excited. When I just looked at the title, Divine Dirt, it just resonated on so many levels that I almost don't understand. But I think from my shamanistic side, from my indigenous, Navajo side, it really kind of rose that very base level of why are we doing all this pie in the sky magic? Why don't we get back to the roots and to the earth? And so Charity has been practicing magic for over 2 decades, has her own shop. Her new release is coming out June 8th, 2024 by Llewellyn Worldwide. Is a writer in WitchWay magazine. I mean, it goes on and on and on, and I'm looking to, shall I say, dig into some information with you. First, Charity, tell us a little bit about yourself, because in looking at, at your body of work, it really shows that you have a side that is witchy, and then you have a side that is conjure. And the beauty around the podcast is that I love to share with the listeners different types of belief styles.
Everything. So I share that animistic tendency that comes from shamanism that was actually drilled into me by my father, who has his own sort of shamanic approach and beliefs in the world. He's always taught me growing up that nobody messes with Mother Nature. You got Father Sky, you got Mother Nature. She gives us everything we really need. And I was raised primarily originally in the United Church of Christ, so I was raised with a Christian background. But then in my early teens, I found a book on witchcraft, and that book was all about worshiping nature and the cycle of nature. To me, nature is sacred. Nature is important. Even here, because I live in the middle of a city, there's still nature. I go out my door and I can see a beautiful river. I look to behind me and there's not many trees, but there's some beautiful trees. I mean, like I said, I can see the river. There's a beautiful park down there, which has some wonderful land for people for walking. And whether you're in the city, out in the country, in the middle of a field, nature is everywhere. And over the years, I noticed in my witchcraft that all the spells and prayers were all kind of like moon goddess, sun lord, great spirits of the sky. But it's like, where about the, earth mother, the fact that, according to our myths, she is the body of the earth, and his seed is the grain, and the sun is, his symbol is gold for the sun as well as for the golden grain which grows from the earth. There didn't seem to be a lot of people that knew about the dirt and actually working magic, connecting down to the dirt. In conjure, conjure is a folk magic tradition that originates back from the south. It was created by African American slaves, and to this day still is primarily practiced by the descendants of those who were slaves. And one of the things is that they had to use what was available, and dirt was everywhere. Dirt from crossroads, graveyards, dirt from the trees, dirt from the river. There's something that they could work with, and it was all based on the fact that every place has a spirit, and that spirit energy lives in the dirt. Witchcraft is the same thing. we don't the it's often with, you know, the herbs and crystals, not so much dirt. So I thought that this would help bring that dirt back down to it. And you can still do work, reach to the heavens with the use of incense smokes and candles. But this also brings us down and makes us look at the world around us in a way that truly sees how the physical and the spiritual, while separate, are deeply connected.
And I love that you brought up animism and that everything has a soul and this groundedness about the dirt. The first thing I thought of course, was gardening and that type of thing. But as I cracked open the book, what I really enjoyed was that you threw down about ethics and that there are ethical ways to get the dirt and to, you know, work with the dirt. And how do you approach the earth when you actually take or work with the dirt itself? Like, what is your
You can work with dirt it's the same concept. Even human created spaces like banks and hospitals, they have their own spirits too. And getting so I went to a bank one time, and when I'm actually going to gather the dirt, I mentally get into a space where it's just me and the spirit, me and the action. Sometimes I silently mouth the words like, thank you, spirit, for this. Thank you for this help. I need it for this. Other times I just focus on it and try to sense what the spirit's response is. If a spirit tells you no, and I have been told no, I don't. It wasn't that they didn't want to work with me. They wanted to get to know me better. They wanted me to come and, you know, sit with them and spend time with them and get to know them personally before going and taking their essence and working with their essence. Because when you're taking the dirt, you're taking a part of them. You're taking a literal physical part of them with you to work with. Like in a place like a bank or hospital, it's a little easier to only take a small bit because there's usually only a little bit on the floor that you can get up with a dusting. Or a trail in the woods, it can be easier to take handfuls. And I don't do that because that's too much from one spot. That's too aggressive of an action. I like to think of it as I'm using my hand as a little bit of a duster. I just say my hand right here is the dirt. I'll go like that, get just 2 or 3 little dusts, and only I just do very small, take a little bit. And this is why I usually carry either napkins or small plastic bags with me, because then I will put it in the napkin or in the plastic bag and keep it there. Dust, and you really only need a little bit because of how powerful the essences are.
And in your book, you know, you do go into different places, be it, like you mentioned, a bank or a hospital or the woods. You also talk about the mall dirt, you know, going to the shopping mall. You talk about all of these different places. And you did mention that the spirits of the land are going to be, and the dirt is going to be different at these different locations.
Yes, they are.
I kind of can assume that bank dirt has to do with money and prosperity. Hospital dirt has to do with healing. You know, am I on the right track there? What is like
Yep.
mall dirt, school dirt, like?
Okay. Well, schools and libraries can be used in the same way. What do you do at those places? You learn, or in the essence of college or trade school, you're learning a skill for a job. So it's great. They're great for money work. They're great for getting new opportunities. And if you have a lot of obstacles in your path, you can use them to bust open the obstacles. because I think of it as you're going to the library, you're going to learn something that's going to open new opportunities for you. The more you know, the more opportunities in life you have. So that's why the libraries can be used in college and training centers can be used to move blocks, blockbusters. I love mountains. I love mountain dirt. It's so strong. It's some of the also most primal energy out there because mountains are old. I mean, there was one time when the top of a mountain was at the bottom of the ocean. So I mean, mountains have all that ageless wisdom, the clarity of sight. Because when you think about it, if you go when you climb a mountain and get to the observation level, where they have one of those, you can look and you can see beautiful for long ways. So you can apply that to anything that has to do with clear sight and divination and psychic work.
Another part that you brought up in your book, Divine Dirt, which is available for right now, pre-order, and in the future it will be available, published by Llewellyn worldwide. You talk about the dirt and animal prints, or could you explain a little bit more about the significance of collecting dirt from animal prints and how that works?
Wherever we step, we leave an imprint of ourselves, a footprint. So that footprint has your essence, kind of. It's not as strong as, say, a bit of hair or a piece of a fingernail would be, because that's directly from your body. But because it's made from your weight pressing down in the earth, it has your essence in your foot tracks. Animal tracks are the same thing, has the essence of that animal. And if you like to work with and call on animal powers for very spiritual things, because pretty much every spiritual tradition I found has some sort of spiritual significance to various animal symbols and signs. Well, have dirt from a wolf's paw tracks, you have that wolf energy right there. Same thing with bears or coyotes, skunks, snakes, turtles, frogs, even birds. If you can identify the bird tracks, you can carry the essence of that bird with you. But I mean, a relationship with that animal spirit, because you're taking part of their essence. You're taking sort of part of like a shadow aspect of their essence, something that's left behind. So for myself, I would work with animals that I already know I have a relationship with, and talk to the animal first. Get to know that animal spirit first before I gather the dirt. I would also want to have an offering ready.
Yeah.
Whether that be some hair from my hairbrush, water, a little piece of bread, or even sometimes I will leave a physical coin as an offering, as a thank you, because you're literally paying them for their time and for their essence. And whoever finds it next is going to be the next person who needs that coin, who needs that money. That's what spirit does with money. They take the essence of the money and then they'll give it. Whoever finds it next, it'll be the ones that need it, and it'll go to them, and they'll be blessed by that spirit.
Like, there are so many wonderful, thought out, almost like intentional spells. I think, what is there? There's way over 100 spells in this book, you guys. Divine Dirt by Charity Bedell, also known to her friends as Luna Wind, which I wanted to mention. I was flipping through this and I'm like, you pretty much covered so many things. Can you kind of step us through one of your favorite ones so that the listeners can kind of get a flavor of what type of spell work they will find? I mean,
one of my favorites in the book is a spell for helping heal with alcoholism. And in that spell, you're making a healing sachet or a healing charm bag for the person that's dealing with alcoholism. And in the book, I mentioned using dirt from a liquor store or a bar or club that they frequent regularly. And it's because you're trying to tell that you're using power of the store to help them say, you don't need this anymore. We're done with you. It's time for you to heal your relationship with us. Because alcoholism is a disease with a relationship with alcohol as much as everything else. So you're healing the person and you're healing the relationship with that material. And so you use dirt from an alcohol store or bar, or if you're not comfortable using that dirt, then you can use dirt from a doctor's office or hospital for the healing aspect. You're gonna put that dirt in the bag with all the other materials, the herbs and crystals, the hair, personal effect, and you're going to be praying to them and thanking them or making your statement of intent. However you word your magic, I've used prayer for my spells. I've used statements of intent. I've used chants. I've used magic, whatever works for you to heal them. And it's going to have the dirt, and that's going to be the big power. But the other materials sort of add the flavor to tell it's like.
I love that. It makes me think of the idea that, in the book where you go into different, like you just said, herbs or crystals or, personal effects and all of that. And the idea of placing dirt with it makes me, like, my mind expand to, we're actually grounding this energy. We are having sacred stance. We are going to grow something more. That's where my mind just went. It's like opening up as I'm listening to what you're talking about.
That's why there's so many different spells and rituals. I just tried to give a couple samples and ideas and suggestions of what you can do with some of the different dirt. I'm sure there's hundreds and thousands of more things that people can take that information and be like, oh yeah, because you could use it as an actual spell. You could create ritual charms that help you get into trance state, create a shamanic healing rattle, and have dirt be one of the things inside the rattle that creates the rattling sound and healing. And that would be another way to work with the magic of the dirt.
But very grounding, very practical, available anywhere. And we all have a type of relationship with dirt. This took me to a whole nother level of the magical intentions, perspectives, ways that we can work with the world and not have to spend $5,000 on a huge crystal, which if you want to, go ahead. No, but that all of these things are accessible. All of these things are have meaning, animism, the idea that it all has a soul, the spirits of the place, with respect and approach to actual practical guidelines. So I just wanted to say thank you so much for spending this time with me and my listeners, and congratulations on yet another book. This one is Divine Dirt, and it's available wherever you get your books, published by Llewellyn worldwide. Charity, thank you so much. Is there anything else that you wanted to say?
One of the reasons I wrote this book was because in my first book with Llewellyn, Container Magic, I mentioned in the back using dirt as a magical ingredient, as a filling for some of the containers. So this, I provided basic, it's energy. You can use this for this type of energy. That then translated into expanding and helping people understand and develop relationship with the earth. So I'm really hoping that this book will help people look at the physical earth and try to see ways that they can connect to it without necessarily always having to be out in the mountains or things, because my apartment's part of nature, the church outside is part of nature, the river, there's nature everywhere. Life finds a way.
If this is an interesting topic, just as Charity mentioned, container magic is already available anywhere that you buy your metaphysical or spiritual books. They can get a hold of it. So thank you so much, Charity. I really appreciate all of the time and the wisdom that you are bringing to us so that we can further our spiritual practice in a practical way, working with Mother Earth. Blessings. So thank you for listening and or watching to another episode of Belief Being and Beyond with your host, Granddaughter Crow. Please write a review, like, subscribe, share, comment if you wish, and we will get back to you. I really appreciate you, and we will see you on the flippity flip.